like to present now with the Machito organization, Zoot Sims. Zoot on tenor, Machito the band, and Tanga.
Hi, my name is Mario Grillo, and I'm here in Montvale, New Jersey, at the home of my dear friend Martin Cohen. We're here to talk a little bit about Machito Orchestra and a little bit about myself, but more important than anything, the history of this great Machito Orchestra. Machito got to New York in 1937 from Havana, Cuba, and he immediately started working with a lot of the local bands here, doing very well, working with Noro Morales, of course, and with the great Xavier Cugat, who gave him one of his first opportunities to record the hit tune Cachita. From there, as they say, history took its course. He put his first band together in 1939, and one of the first musicians that joined that band was Jose Pin Madera. And it's really very nice for me that 50, 60 years later, I have both Maderas as part of Machito Orchestra and also Big Three Palladium Orchestra. It's a great link between families. Machito was a perfectionist as far as his music, as far as the appearance of the orchestra, everything from uniforms to bandstands, etc. But his main love was just to get that dancer out on the dance floor, to let them express themselves. His biggest period of time, I would have to say, would be in the 50s, right after World War II and into the early 60s with the success of the Palladium Ballroom, where he shared the stage with two other members of what were affectionately known as the Big Three, Tito Puente and Tito Rodriguez. And from what he told me, it was a battle. I asked him one time, what was easier, to play opposite Tito Puente or to play opposite Tito Rodriguez? He told me, no, I preferred when I had the two of them together. And I said, well, why would you prefer that? He said, well, because Tito would beat the heck out of Tito. Tito would beat the heck out of Tito. By the time they got to me, they were exhausted and I could take them easy. So then just one of the ways that Machito thought. He liked to stay with the times. What I found most interesting about my father was back in the old days, before all this digital stuff and YouTube and everything else that's out there, when you got in a person's radio and turned on the radio, since it was a turn dial, you could tell a lot about that person. You still can. And one day I borrowed my father's station wagon, and when I turned on the radio, it was like this acid rock, heavy metal rock blaring out of the speakers, So when I got home, I told him, Daddy, have you lost your mind? What are you listening to? He says, well, I was turning the dial and the DJ said that this next record sold 4 million copies. I want to find out what the heck these guys are doing to sell 4 million copies, because I can't even sell 40 copies in the Bronx. So he always kept his ears open. He was always very aware of everything that was happening around him musically. The greatest thing that happened to Machito, again, for me, was the tremendous opportunity to have a second life in music. And from 1975 on was a really great 10-year period for Machito. We went to Europe again. We went up to Scandinavia. It was the beginning of an entire new marketplace. And one of the people that paved the way for that was a Latin percussion ensemble in the early 80s. But it was a new life for Machito. It gave us opportunity to record in Holland for a great label called Timeless. We recorded 3 albums for them, one of which was a Grammy Award winner. So then all of these things made up Machito, the orchestra, and Machito, the singer, vocalist, instrumentalist. I've had many maraca players come through the band and that I've seen in the course of my life, but I think Machito's personal stroke for the maracas was awesome and very much a metronome for our band. So that's a little bit about Machito, the musician. Machito, the father, awesome. This was the guy who got up in the morning and made breakfast and silver dollar pancakes and French toast with sliced bananas. I mean, I still do the same for my kids today. So he was a very, very loving father, very supportive, very strict, but very fair. And those are all the things that we try to instill in our own kids. Great humanitarian, cared a lot about the people that supported him throughout his career. As many of you may know, he went to work to help senior citizens and those addicted to drugs to try to rehabilitate them and try to improve their quality of life. So then, as much as the community gave him, he gave back to the community. One of his favorite sayings was, you know, last night I was playing in People's Park in the South Bronx, and tonight I'm in the Waldorf Astoria. And he really wasn't sure which audience he liked better and which one he enjoyed performing for more than the other. So then the saying that he was very much a tuxedo person, he was also a very casual person and very easy to get along with. I think that was his greatest attribute. We haven't run across anybody yet who hasn't said that they didn't love Machito. So that's a great legacy.